Good evening, and welcome to the Disruption Network and Agent Paranormal. How is everyone doing tonight? It is Friday. It is Sunday. It is Sunday.
It is Sunday.
It is Sunday. So, how is everyone doing?
Not too bad. How you been?
I'm doing well. So, it's February 16th. I can now hear myself in my headphone. Thank you very much. Welcome to Agent Paranormal. We are so excited to be back for our second show. Did you guys know that today is a holiday? Did you know that?
I did not.
You guys are all staring at me in like complete amazement. Did you know it's National Innovation Day today? Mm-hmm. It's also National Almond Day. Almond. I mean, some of you may call it almond.
Okay.
Almond Day. And it's also Do a Grouch a Favor Day.
Yeah.
Right? Is that awesome or what? So welcome to the show. Make sure you tune in to Disruption Network and check out all the... What, we got a problem here? What's going on?
No, I don't think so.
We good?
Maybe.
I think we're having a little technical difficulties. I'm not sure here. Well, let's just keep going on anyway. Sorry about that. A little bit of weirdness. So anyways, tonight I am joined with my co-host Kevin, who's manning the helm. Chris next to me. And Peter is MIA. He's actually en route from the casino. We're actually timing to see how long it takes him to get here, so he's not breaking any laws or anything.
Although it says he's driving right now?
He's driving right now.
Because I got it saying that he's watching us right now.
Oh, okay. He's watching us and he's driving. He's multitasking.
Hey,
love that, right?
The phone.
Love that. So make sure you check us out, Agent Paranormal on social media. Make sure you smash that like button on Facebook. That's where you can find us. And we're also on Instagram. And we'd love to hear from you. If you have questions about the paranormal, you want to share an experience about the paranormal, or you just want to talk about the paranormal, reach out to us. So we're actually pretty accommodating people. We're actually kind of friendly, aren't we?
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
I'm not friendly.
No. All right, that's true. Kevin can be kind of a stick in the mud at times, but most of the time he's actually pretty good. So
Usually pretty good after my coffee.
well, of course. And it's funny that you should mention coffee too, by the way, Chris. Because we actually have our own coffee.
That's what we in TV side call a segue.
It was. See how I picked up on that so good? So we have a coffee. It's called Agent Paranormal coffee, of course. It's a full-bodied apparition. So there should be a picture of it coming up for you.
We got one up right now.
So check that out, huh? That was made for us by our friends over at Utica Coffee Roaster. We love those people. They've got the best coffee in the area, if not the best coffee in the nation, if not in the entire world. So check it out. If you want a bag or two of it, make sure you contact us online, and it is for sale. Yep. And we enjoy it, and we hope you will enjoy it too as well.
Talk about wake the hell up. That'll wake the dead right there.
Well, you got to remember, we're paranormal investigators, so we're out pretty late at night, standing in dark rooms, being quiet, and, coffee is what is the fuel that we need to keep us going. I'm telling you, man. Except for Pete. For Pete, it's more like iced tea and donuts.
Yeah, it's weird. Unsweetened iced tea and maple donuts.
And maple donuts.
Maple donut. Does he get the one with the bacon?
Yeah. I will have tea with no sugar, please. Donuts, extra sugar, please.
That's our Pete. We love him just the way he is. We wouldn't change him for the world, and you all know that. So hey, let's just jump right into it, okay? Let's show some evidence. We've got a lot of things to go over tonight. We got a big show. We've probably got one of the biggest guests on our show tonight that we will probably have all year. So I want to prep for this, but I want to go over a couple pieces of evidence and pull it out of the old paranormal vault, if you will. So I've got a couple EVPs that I want to play for you. These were recorded at different locations during investigations, and I want to play these for you and see if you can hear what we hear, okay? So I'm going to start with one right here, and this was done at the Knox Mansion. I know Kevin's been to the Knox Mansion. Chris, you have not been.
No, I have not been at that one.
We've investigated several times, so I'm going to play this for you. Here we go.
Coming through there now.
Very low.
Yeah, it is very low.
Very low. Can we pick up the volume on that a little bit? I don't think it's playing through.
Sounds like the volume's coming through the output of that.
Oh, I know what to do here. Hold on. I'm a paranormal investigator / technician.
There we go.
All right,
Now
we're gonna.
Now let's try it.
We got our spirit in the back room bumping our audio
Yeah.
right now. So
Here we go. Let's try that again. Can you tell me how many people are in the room?
10? I heard 9. I heard 10.
7, 8, 9, 10. Whoa. Now, what you just heard was a spirit box playing in the background, that squelchy noise. We use those quite a bit when we do investigations as part of our spirit communication package. And we asked the spirit box how many people were in the room, and it came back and said 10. It sounded like a female voice that said 10. And I'll play it one more time for you, real quick. Here we go. Can you tell me how many people are in the room?
10? I heard 9. I heard 10.
7, 8, 9, 10. Whoa. That was actually pretty cool, I thought. So let's play another one. This is one we recorded locally here in the Utica area. So I'm going to play this for you here. It's a little bit shorter one.
We're going to be leaving soon. Is there anything you want to say?
Now, you heard the girl say, we're going to be leaving soon. Is there anything you want to say? And you can hear the spirit box say, go back. Which, again, I thought was pretty cool. Let me try that for you again.
We're going to be leaving soon. Is there anything you want to say?
So sometimes they talk to us and tell us to go back. They tell us to leave. They tell us to stay. So many other things. So I'm going to play one more for you here. This one's a little personal to me. As you know, my name is Rich. And one of the nicknames for Rich back in the 50s is Dick. Yeah, we got to live with that forever. So, yeah, you guys all laugh, right? So anyways, I'm going to play this EVP for you, and you're going to hear a disembodied voice say Dick, like it's requiring. I'm hoping it's requesting my name and not requesting something else. So anyways, here we go. I don't know if you can understand this, but we can actually hear you, see you. And we're here to talk with you. Did you live in this house? Now, did you guys hear that? Did you hear that? Like, it's almost like an electronic voice and went like through some kind of filter and said "Dick" right above the actual spirit box.
Yep.
Isn't that weird?
It is very weird. And just for some of our listeners, we know that it could be hard to hear some of this stuff coming through. We're pushing it over the air to you that's coming from another digital meter. It sounds a lot better in person, but if you don't understand what a spirit box is, it's basically a small handheld radio that is flipping through 30 channels per second, and we're picking up certain words or phrases, which, you shouldn't be able to do that. So that's just a little bit of understanding of what you're actually hearing.
Yeah, you're talking about us listening to hours of audio. And sometimes if we hear something with our own ears during the session, we'll say check audio. And then if we hit a check audio without picking up on something, we usually go back about 30 seconds, and in that 30-second window, there's something there that caught our attention. Now, sometimes we hear it during the session, but we go back and listen to our audio equipment, and we don't pick up anything. We use Tascam audio recorders, which are high-end audio recorders, so we're not screwing around with any like little, Staples version, like little audio recorder that you can pick up for $30. So this is good stuff. And we have to listen to this stuff for hours to pick up. I think for that one last clip I played, I think I had to listen to like an hour and a half. And you got to have headphones on, and you got to be in a room where no one's interrupting you. which is very difficult, especially
Yeah.
if you have kids or, pets or you're married or whatever, So, again, that takes so much time to do that. So people are like, well, what'd you catch? It's like, you're going to need to give me a week and a half to, go over everything, because 4 hours of investigating someone's house with, say, 2 audio recorders, I mean, you're talking about 8 hours of audio to go through.
Yep.
That's a lot to go through.
So you got somewhere between 3 to 6 hours per investigation of you sitting in a room by yourself talking to yourself, and then you got to listen back to all that. It's just a great time. Everybody wants to be a paranormal investigator.
Exactly. Then what you have to do is once you pick that up, you have to mark it, and then you got to go back to it and feed it through some type of software or something. We used to use Audacity, which is a free downloadable audio software, and you can take in clips or whole audio files, and you can go down there and you can kind of put a marker on it, and then you can pull that segment out and take a 30-minute audio clip and turn it into 30 seconds just for that piece that you get. So that's how pretty much we have to do it. I'm sure there's probably some other stuff that's available to us now, but I still bang it out with Audacity anyways. I mean, come on, guys, it's free.
Yeah.
I mean, I own enough paranormal equipment. Anything I can get for free is always a good thing. So we have some other good news, some big news to announce. We are going to be doing a public investigation on April 18th. That's right, public investigation here in Utica, New York at the Rucker Mansion. And Rucker Mansions, with a plural. Number 1 and number 3. And we are totally stoked about it. We've investigated this location numerous times. A lot of weird stuff has happened to us. I mean, we took Chris along.
It never disappoints.
No, it never does. We took Chris along a few months ago, and we did some stuff there, and we got some very interesting audio stuff.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Probably more unusual than I ever thought. I'm not going to reveal what it was until we get to the point where we get it and we can put it in a presentation and show you, but...
I'm working on it.
Okay. It's like we had the whole discussion about, 8 hours of audio, to go through. So, anyways, come join us. We're going to have food and beverages. We're going to have a meet and greet. You can come hang out with the Agent Paranormal crew, meet us. We'll show you some stuff. We're going to have haunted tours. So we'll take you into the mansions and show you where the paranormal activity starts and places we've caught evidence, so that when we do the ghost hunt after the lecture and everything, you'll know where to go. And if you buy the VIP ticket, which I highly recommend because you get the most, the most bang for your buck, you get an extra paranormal investigation afterwards as well. So if you like to explore old spooky mansions, you like history, and you want to do some ghost hunting stuff, come spend April 18th with us. Tickets are $45, and the money goes to the Landmark Society of Greater Utica. It's a donation. The tickets are non-refundable because it is a donation for historical preservation and to help them restore those buildings and bring them back to the glory days that they were at one point in time. I don't know if you guys understand how expensive it is, but to have somebody come in and do any work like a carpenter, you have to have a carpenter who's experienced with that type of era of house and the building techniques. Then you have to make sure that you have to do the work in accordance with the historical preservation. Yep. You can't just frame a 2x4 wall and throw it in there. You have to basically have somebody come in and do it as how they would have done it back in the 1700s. So a lot of respect for those guys. They're paid very well, and they do an amazing job. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to preserve this history for all of us here in the Utica Rome area to enjoy for many generations to come. So, and your money will help that. We've done many fundraisers for them in the past, and we've been involved in raising thousands of dollars for them. And they're always so kind, and they're always so accommodating for us to work there. So,
great group of people. They always have a great spread for us. They're very accommodating to us. They're very, very knowledgeable about these mansions, along with other places surrounding the areas.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you come out, you're going to have fun, but at the same time, you're going to learn something about this area you might not know.
There's fun in learning, Kevin.
There is.
And learning is fun.
Now you're pushing it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm so sorry, man. I sometimes I do that. I just push the boundaries. I guess that's probably how I annoy people. So, anyways, let's talk about some cases, man. Let's talk about some scary crap, okay? You like that? Scary crap?
I do.
Yeah. It happens in every haunted bathroom in the world. Scary crap. There are two cases that come to my mind, and our guest tonight is going to talk a little bit about these with us. We're going to pick his brain to see what he can tell us. So first of all, let's talk about the Amityville case, or better known as the Amityville Horror, thanks to Hollywood.
Yeah.
So, I've seen like 2 iterations of that movie. And the one with, Margot Kidder and James Brolin.
Yep.
I thought that was the better one.
Yes.
I really did. Then they had, Ryan Reynolds and whatever.
Which
Ryan
was still a
Reynolds.
good movie.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
The original was better.
Right. But the case really has a very dark background, basically, and it starts with the murders by Ronald DeFeo.
Yep.
How he murdered his family. And, of course, anytime you talk about that, that's going to open up a whole can of worms about paranormal activity and stuff. So, but it's very controversial, the case, because, the Warrens were involved in it, and they got kind of some grief about it. And the George Lutz, basically, they're saying that essentially that the story was, made up to the point where you could sell books and, benefit from it. But I actually watched some documentaries on YouTube. One was George Lutz, and he was talking about the case. And, he said, it was a beautiful house. He bought it for like $80,000. That house is worth, about $1 million or so? And he picked that up for like $80,000 back in his day. It's a beautiful house. And I saw a couple pictures. They were old school. They had an infrared camera set up, but it would go off on a timer and take a picture. And there was a picture of a little kid, a little boy.
Yep.
Oh,
The staircase, just
top of the staircase.
Yeah, looking.
Yep.
Now, could that have been planted? Well, yeah. Folks, anytime we talk about anything that's paranormal evidence, please understand that much of this could have been faked to a certain extent. Many times when I have something that I'm on the fence about, if it's good or bad, I usually send it to Kevin. I'll be honest with you. And Kevin will look at it for a long time. He'll just, and then he'll get back to you and he'll give you his honest, unbiased opinion. And
My biggest thing is I look it over and I just try and say, can I recreate this?
Yes.
And, if there's without a shadow of a doubt that I can recreate it no matter what, then we got to start questioning it.
That's got to be the hard part in this day and age.
So
much can be done, technology-wise.
Yep. Now
But-
you're getting like the deep fake videos,
Yes.
where people are superimposing other people's faces on
Yeah.
other actors in movies and such.
And it's not even just photos; it's video.
Yeah.
yeah, and then the revolution of Photoshop and everyone having a video camera in their pocket and be able to edit it. It's come to the point where we really have to take a long look at it. And there's got to be a little bit level of trust with the people who are supplying us with this. Many times when people reach out to us, they have a case and they've gotten some audio or they've taken some pictures and they send it over to us. If we feel the person is being honest, and
If they're
forthright and stuff like that, we'll actually look at it. And, we can basically always say that this could have been something else, pretty much almost all the time. But for them to basically keep good faith with them and not to belittle them or basically say, okay, well, this is what you saw, but this is what I see. That doesn't mean this is not what happened, So
Yeah.
you really have to respect it because you don't know. You weren't in the situation. You weren't.
Yep.
I've seen things and I've told people, did you just see that? That was a little kid. They're like, no, I didn't see that. That wasn't a little kid. So sometimes.
Yeah, we have photos from Rucker events in which somebody caught a photo, and we send it in our group messages, and we just sit there and just destroy this photo, trying to figure out what we're actually seeing there.
Yeah.
Usually we figure it out, and the one, I don't know if you remember, it actually looked like there was a little boy in the photo, and what it turned out to be was somebody in the background actually started walking away as the photo was taken. So it kind of left like a superimposed image of them walking away.
But the thing about that, it does look like a little girl, a ghost of a little girl standing there watching. It's just bizarre and it's very eerie. And that's why, I'm still on the fence about it, to be honest with you. I'm still on the fence about it. I see one thing, but I understand that it could be something that's just a normal thing, like somebody walking through the frame and basically based on the shutter speed or whatever, it just basically looked like it imposed a picture of a person.
But
So I
back
get
to
that.
the photo that you're talking about, the famous one from the 70s in the Amityville Horror House
Yeah.
on was it Ocean Avenue.
Yes.
You got to remember, this was taken in the 70s. I mean, you had to be
Yeah, the average
pretty
person.
damn good
Yeah.
to recreate that. Not only that, I've seen that photo along with a photo of one of the DeFeo children that were killed in the
It's
home.
eerily similar.
And they're very similar. It seems like their facial features match up almost perfect.
Yeah.
But it's one of them is a straight-on shot, which is one of the most famous pictures of the children.
Yes.
And then the one that they caught is like a three-quarter shot because he's like peering around the banister.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an easy thing to fake.
No, and you had to really have some skill back in the 70s to
Yeah.
fake anything like that. You know, you had to have like a dark room and a laboratory to do that stuff. Where
Yeah. The
now you
average
can have it
person-
with a cell phone. You know, so but there was so much stuff that the movie put in there that disagreed with the actual story.
Yeah.
Like George Lutz falling through the floor into a pit of blood and all that kind of
that's-
stuff. I mean, obviously, anytime Hollywood gets it, they got to make it scary and gory. I mean, that's because people want to see that. They want to buy tickets and they want to see it. Now, the Amityville case is horrific, but if you really sit down and talk to them about the whole story, it's not as bad as the movie made it to be.
No.
You know what I mean? And then also, George Lutz's stepson basically is telling a different story. Then he goes, did things happen there? Yeah, things happened there. Did we see shadows? Yeah, we saw shadows. But did this happen? No. Did the thing with the red eyes peering through the dark? No. Did something growl at you? No. So basically, I mean, the stories change. I mean, were there flies all over the priest and he went running out the door? No. There was flies, though, they said in that sewing room
They did say
all
that
the time.
there was a attack, quote unquote, of cluster flies, but during the summer, you know how it is just around here. I mean,
Right.
that's down in Long Island.
And they're close to water, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you've better been close to water, they track so many bugs, flying insects, and spiders, and all kinds of stuff. So, but I want to ask John tonight a little bit about that, get his thought on the whole Amityville case.
Yeah.
The one that interests me more, I thought was a little bit more darker and believable, was the Haunting of Connecticut story.
Yep.
And please don't go by the movie where there was bodies in the walls and they were flying out and they're,
I thought that was true.
let's patch the drywall here. Oh my God, there's bodies, I mean, but I've actually met Carmen Snedeker, and she was a client of mine, and she pulled out this statue of Mary that she had in a purse, and it was melted. And she said that happened during that case, during that time period. It just started to melt, and she grabbed it. So the story itself, when Hollywood got a hold of it, they basically threw a lot of stuff in there because, again, we discussed that. That's what they do. But there's a lot of merit with the case. I mean, you had John Zaffis there. You had the Warrens there. You had some heavy hitters in the field of demonology and paranormal in there. So you can't just say, I think something's going on in my house, and they just show up and hang out there for a month.
Yeah.
They need to see things. They need to experience things in order to know what it was. And John had a moment when he came across something that almost changed his career path, pulling him out of the paranormal and being done with it forever. But thank God for us, and thank God for society, that he stayed with it and basically decided to stay with the paranormal because he's a treasure to this industry, in this field. But that was a pretty horrific case. And you're talking about mental illness, possibly, they're talking about, right? Didn't she? She had her son committed, and they locked him up. They took him out in a straitjacket, locked him up. And she didn't know. I mean, she thought her son was having, mental issues because he was suffering from cancer. I think it was Hodgkin's or something one of those
Hodgkin's
types.
lymphoma.
Yes.
I think so.
And they thought maybe the medicine was affecting his thought process, his brain, and everything else. But they weren't experiencing the things that he was experiencing until, afterwards. So there's a tremendous amount of guilt on her for putting your son away, basically, and not listening to him. Because, I mean, this is stuff, even today, if kids go to their parents and talk about, there's men in my room, they're talking, they want me to do this, they want me to do that. Parents basically, first thing they do is, I'm going to take you to a doctor,
Yep.
and something's wrong with you, and I watched an interview where she was on, I think it was CNN, and she was talking about, and one of the reasons why she brought the story out was so that no child should have to go through that, basically be subjected to, being incarcerated and put into a mental institution because there's something going on there. But that was a funeral home at one point.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do? Because I've investigated a funeral home. It was the most quiet place ever. You walk around, it's like, just peaceful here, man. It's just like, you got to remember, everyone died already, and then they were brought in. So if you look at it, spirits left the body. Okay, if you look at it in that very simple terminology, spirit left the body. This is just the organic remains. Here it is, So it was it was creepy to go in. You're like, oh, God, there's an embalming table, and there's body bags on the floor. I mean, it was, I took some pictures. It looked like something out of, Silent Hill or something, but there was no shadows. There was no, it was just, you could sit there and just nothing, man. It was just calm
a
as could be.
building. Yeah.
I've been inside old funeral homes and stuff like that. One of my old jobs, when I was working security, I actually had to go inside a building. It used to be a funeral home, just do a couple rounds in there. And one of the stories from there was you could hear the elevator, the casket elevator, still moving. Well, there was no casket elevator anymore. They ripped it out. They boarded it up. But, I was actually in the house one night because we got a sensor alert saying somebody was walking around. And we go in there, there's nobody in there. And I was on the 3rd floor, and I heard an elevator start up and start rumbling through the building. So, was I scared in there? No, not necessarily. But at the same time, I can't say that all funeral homes are going to be nice and quiet. And, there's a little bit more to the story you have, but I'm not sure if we could tell our viewers that.
Yeah, no, every case is different, but you got to ask yourself, what did happen at this place to make that an evil place?
Yeah.
We'll talk to John about it, but I kind of think I know what was going on there, and it's something kind of gruesome, but it happens, I guess. It's. You know what? But when you're putting in a position where, when I was at a house up in Woodgate investigating, and everyone left, they're outside talking to the homeowner, giving their goodbyes, packing up, and she lived there by herself, so there was no kids. She had a couple pets, and I realized I forgot my phone charger. So, I had to go get my phone charger. So I went back into the house, and all of a sudden something caught my eye to look left down a hallway, and something shot by the opening. Quickly, and then you could hear it run up the stairs, banging hard, like a little kid. It's like a 10-year-old kid with work boots on, just pounding. And then it ran across the upstairs, right above my head, because the lights started to shake. Just boom, 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 slamming doors. Now, was I scared? I thought I was going to be terrified, but the adrenaline kicked in. I'm like, oh my God. I was just I was so excited. I ran out and Pete. And he's like, what? He's like, what? I go, you got to go back in the house, man. You got to go back in the house. And I told him the experience. He went upstairs, came back down. He's like, that famous Pete shake of the head. Yeah. He goes, all the doors are closed up there. Something happened. I said, yeah. Because she had all the doors up. There's 6 doors up there open. And she had little decorative, old flat irons and stuff in front of them to keep them so they didn't creak open. And they were all pushed out into the hallway. And all the doors were shut. Freaky. Reverend Peter has joined us. Hello, Peter.
Speaking of which,
How's it going, Pete?
our own Mr. McFeely.
He's got lots of books here. Did you bring any donuts? No, just rosaries, holy water, and books. But no freaking donuts, dude.
I think
No
he's
maple
ready
frosted?
for our celebrity.
A celebrity, our celebrity for the night. So look.
Way to go, Pete.
Yeah, that slid right down there. It's not going to work. You know what? Pete is the face of every group I've been involved with. Means Pete. They always remember Pete. Where's that big funny guy? You mean Pete? Yeah, the big funny guy, Pete. Well, he's here someplace.
Oh, is that the coffee?
That's the coffee, Peter.
This is the coffee.
Agent Paranormal. Full-bodied apparition. Brewed.
Amazing book, by the way.
That's the other one. If you're into the demonology,
Is that The Hobbit? Oh, no, it's Hostage to the
actually
Devil.
written by a real Catholic exorcist.
Yeah, I know. That book's gonna. I can feel the heat from it already as you said it near me.
Well, that's because I had it on my lap.
Oh.
Because we are talking to John today.
Oh, the Roman ritual of exorcisms. Oh, boy.
Nice.
It's about to go down, folks. It's going to get real in here. You know.
It's in both Latin and English.
This isn't Casper the Friendly Ghost Hour. This is for sure. Pete showed up with the. We're not going to do any exorcisms or anything here tonight, are we? Just let me know.
Doing a
that.
live
Okay.
demonstration.
Live demonstration. We're going to need Z for this one. Z, we just need you to sign this contract, this deal here. It's okay. It's all good. Pete will take care of it. He'll get you out of it.
You just sprinkle some incense and things and go away.
Just like at the men's room, right? The local bar.
I got a story for you about the men's room and
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So as Pete's getting mic'd up here and pulling out all his, he's got like dragon toe there. He's got Iron Newt. He's got all kinds of stuff going on there. So, yeah,
You
put him
didn't
on.
wait for me, did you?
No. I'm going to start talking about our big guest for tonight. You made it just it. Roman ritual and Christian burial, exorcisms, reserved blessings, etc. Oh, boy, I can't believe I just touched that book. So.
Amen.
All right, so let me give a shout out to our guest tonight because I'm super excited about this. I know we're all very excited about this. Peter's so excited he came with the library from hell. Oh, don't even start that. It's going to sound like a White Zombie song here. The introduction of was it Black Sunshine or something like that?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like White Zombie? Love
I do.
it,
I
guys.
love
Cool. All right, let's talk about our guest here. Our guest tonight is John Zaffis. John has over 43 years of experience studying and investigating the paranormal. He's had the opportunity to work with his aunt and uncle, Ed and Lorraine Warren, from the Conjuring series. You know, like 5-6 years ago, if I said to anybody, Ed and Lorraine Warren, and people are like, who? Now, everyone went and saw The Conjuring. And I was like, oh my God, you mean Annabelle? Yep. So everybody knows about it now, right? So this is actually the nephew of Ed Warren. So John basically started doing ghost hunting, investigating, and then started studying the demonology portion under the Warrens. This led with John's involvement with cases of possession and exorcism and gave him the opportunity to work with prominent exorcists in the field, including Roman Catholic priests, monks, Buddhists, rabbis, and ministers. John has assisted and worked with well-known exorcists Bishop Robert McKenna, Father Malachi Martin, and Reverend June. His research has taken him throughout the United States, Canada, England, Scotland. He's covered some good ground here, covering over several thousand cases. Through the hands of investigating with other investigators and clergy, he has obtained a great deal of knowledge and understanding of the paranormal and is considered one of the foremost authorities in the field today. Also, for those of you who follow the Sci-Fi channel, you guys watch Sci-Fi?
Always.
Always.
I do.
There was a little show that aired for a couple years called Haunted Collector. Do you remember it?
It's the only show I remember.
It's the only one. We actually have a full-fledged celebrity sitting in the studio tonight to my left here. Reverend Peter actually starred in the Sci-Fi Channel Haunted Collector episode at Halbert House.
I wouldn't call it starred.
You had a cameo of how many
I had
seconds?
30 seconds, 33 seconds.
He was there for 9 hours.
There you go.
Is this
There you
close?
go. Why don't you talk to our people?
Come on.
Am I that loud? 33 seconds.
In 9 hours you were there.
Yes. I know. They made me film walking into the building for over an hour. Never made it on TV.
All right. Change your shoes. Let's do it again. Put a different colored sweater on. Let's do it again.
Wait, there's an old lady standing over there.
She can't
Does
be
she
in the
look
picture.
mad?
I don't trust
Let's
her.
redo it.
I don't trust her. All right, Kevin,
Can
why
you
don't you call our friend in?
All right. Can't believe I'm calling John.
There's no turning back. There's no turning back, ladies and gentlemen.
We
John
apologize.
Zaffis is going to be on the show.
We apologize for the language you had.
We never apologize for
I
that.
think one of these times we all got to get together and go to his museum.
Been there. It's pretty cool.
I've been wanting to go there for years. So,
Well, you should have
But-
called him up on the phone and say, hey, dude,
Yeah,
see the
well.
museum.
There we go.
We got him here?
Yeah.
How's it going, John?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Mr. Zaffis.
Okay.
It's a pleasure as always. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
How's the weather out in Connecticut?
Very warm. We had a very light winter, so it's been amazing.
Yeah, no hurricanes or nor'easters or any of that kind of stuff?
Nah, not this year. It's been very quiet. All the snow's been up there with you guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. We appreciate that. But you know what? We get through winter, but we don't seem to have hurricanes or any of that kind of stuff, so we're all good. I'll take a couple snowstorms every winter. Hey, so anyways, thank you for being on the show tonight, and I know we got a whole bunch of questions to ask you. I know since you and I have known each other, which is since, God, when we met, like 2004, 2005?
Oh, I think it's a lot earlier than that, my friend. I don't know. 15, 16 years, somewhere around there. That's all I know.
I know. My life has never been the same since.
Hey, I'm still putting you on my tax return. That's it.
Well, at some point you're gonna have to flip that favor over to me because I need some write-offs, man. The kids are gone, so I mean, I need an older demonologist to claim. So, do you know of any?
Hey, you got it, buddy. There you go. You got it.
I appreciate it, man. So, hey, anyways, we were talking about a couple cases here, and I was hoping you could add some insight to the discussion. First, we were talking about the Amityville case. And obviously there's a lot of controversy around that, and obviously there's the movies which kind of blow everything out of proportion, and we watched some stuff that George Lutz did, some interviews and stuff, and he's pretty much on the front that all of this stuff happened, and I think his stepson is contradicting that, saying not all of this stuff kind of happened. Yeah, we saw some stuff, but not to the level that George Lutz claims. I know the Warrens were called in. So I was hoping maybe you could shed some light on that case for us and tell us what were your thoughts on that. I mean, was it really legit of a case?
Yeah, when it comes to Amityville, it's extremely controversial. Then every one of the cases that ends up being turned into a movie or a book ends up being extremely controversial. But with Amityville, there were so many different things, so many aspects of it. I did not work on the original case, but I was very fortunate where I lectured with George several different times, and I had the opportunity to sit down and talk to him. Now, some of the factual things that tie in with Amityville, was the house moved? Yes, that is a true statement. Is it alleged that the house was moved onto a spiritual Native American piece of property? Yes, that's also, something else that we know about. Was there a little red room? Yes, it was underneath the staircase. And, that got verified one night when I was doing a radio show by Kathy Lutz. And we had talked and gone back and forth briefly. Some of the things I think that are, factual things that finally came out over the years is the fact that the house, George was aware of all the DeFeo murders that, transpired in there that Butch did. It's very controversial because the DeFeo, Butch DeFeo, continuously has changed his stories over the years. Was he involved with some occult practices? It's alleged. He has come right out and said it in a couple of interviews. So when you look at the big picture of the Amityville house. Okay, it's an old house. It was moved onto a piece of property that, again, was a spiritual area. There were several murders committed in there. Kathy and George were into trance meditation in that time framing where the doors opened up at that point also too. Yes. So again, you take the combination and you pull all these things together, you got the perfect storm. So when we watch the movies on anything today, we have to take that step back and watch. It's for our entertainment. And, it's something I've dealt with for many, many years, going through, so many of these different things. But do I think the Amityville case was real. Yes. There's another interesting fact that came out after Kathy and George had passed away too. That it was where there was a priest that used to come in when the DeFeo family used to live there and bless the house. Now, again, that's not a very uncommon thing, back then. Today, it's not very common anymore, but, your priest would come in and bless and, different things, over the home. Mr. DeFeo had a lot of religious statues around on the property. And, again, there's so many things that come to light with these cases. And, the one thing I always take that step back and look at is, why did Amityville become the big sensation that it did? I think it was just because the plain fact that each and every one of us that's seen it, it scared the hell out of us. It was a creepy movie.
Oh, God. The first one was horrible. I mean, it gave me nightmares.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Again, even though being around the paranormal and growing up with it. But what I based things on were my conversations that I had with George.
Yep. Did we lose him?
Chris,
There we go.
that was George's stepson, Kathy's son. One time just sitting down having a conversation with him for several hours and just going over the different things, because he had said to me, he goes, "You're one of the very few people that really knows a lot of the true factual things that never came out, about the case and things." And I go, "Yeah," I said, "but that's up to you and your family to bring that to the forefront and to get some of that other additional information out there." So as far as I know, again, it's controversial. The two brothers butt heads all the time, I guess, over it. The girls, the daughters, they have nothing to do with it. They don't like speaking about it. But Amityville will always go down as one of those types of cases, movie, book, or whatever you have, that is always going to scare the hell out of. I can watch it, and I still sit there and get creeped out over it.
So the demonologist actually gets creeped out.
I get creeped out. I get, there again too. That's the one thing, I'm very used to it. Rich, you and I have had many conversations.
Oh yeah.
It takes a lot, to get me going. But when I watch movies or I watch different things, and there's that element in there, I'll go, "Ooh, wow, hey, it could go that way. It could happen that way." It's one of those things, that creepy scare factor. It stays with you.
God, I mean, could you just imagine just having a cup of coffee with the Lutz family and talking about the case? I mean, that just blows my mind. I mean, this is one of the most iconic American haunting cases in history. Yeah. We saw the movie. Well, we're like, wow, yeah. Oh my God. And here you are just having a cup of coffee with them talking about everything, the real family. That's just amazing. That just blows my mind.
Well, to be honest with you, Rich, it wasn't a cup of coffee. We were sitting down having beers.
Oh, all right. So the story gets more interesting. Okay. Yeah, because again, anyone who knows about ghosts, you don't even have to be a paranormal investigator, but anyone who knows about ghosts or haunted houses always brings up the Amityville. I mean, it's just a famous case.
Yeah.
And multiple movies being made, and you can go online and still see so much stuff about it, articles and YouTube videos and everything. So it's one of those things that's always going to capture our imagination. But I think what the biggest thing is that, a question to you is, was it paranormal related, like a typical kind of haunted home with spirits, or was it something a little bit more sinister, like demonic?
Oh, I definitely feel that, again, the ingredients, as far as at home is concerned, there was a lot that transpired. I mean, you have a piece of property that, where murders were committed, and a spiritual piece of property. You have a lot of that, and you bring it in together. You're going to have that negativity, and it's going to be influenced by other things. So therefore, do I feel that the influence of the demonic and the severity of oppression transpired in that home. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
That's interesting. So if there is let me ask you this question. If there's a location that had a lot of suffering in it, okay, would that almost be like a door that could open up for something on the demonic side to kind of occupy that space? Basically, to want to come in there, it's almost like, ooh, this is a feeding ground, that I could come in and disguise myself as something else and just kind of hang out and lure people in.
Well, again, with Demonology 101, that's something we must always be guarded and always careful. Things can trick us. They do trick us. I do definitely feel any spiritual area is a area where, something will try to, infiltrate it, if you will. And, by influencing, which is the main way of things occurring, the way things start to happen. It influences a person. And we refer to that as, oppression. When a person really just starts where, they can't sleep, they can't eat, they can't function. And when we go into a lot of these old historical asylums, if you will, the crazy houses, the cuckoo houses, the old jails, you feel the amount of energy that can just remain. Now, a common thing that people often bring up is, well, why would these spirits hang around in these places? It's not necessarily that the spirit per se from the original tragedies are there, but due to the recognition, and so many of us go in, we do spirit communication, we go and investigate, we do a lot of things, giving the amount of recognition, you're going to bring spirit in. So spirit attracts spirit also. So there's no doubt in my mind by that. But the key thing to always remember is the fact that once you're dealing with that, you can't control whether you're just going to have human spirit that's going to be haunting or something on a negative, on a negative end of that can influence it. So I'm always guarded. I'm always very careful when dealing with these things. As you know, I do a lot of conventions. I do a lot of historical places. People enjoy that. I enjoy it. But a lot of times you got to be guarded and careful because you don't always know what's going to happen or what's going to trigger something. Is somebody else doing something? Is somebody bringing something along with them? So that there's a lot of things to look at when getting involved with a lot of these places where tragedy has transpired.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know pretty much when we do any kind of spirit communication sessions in a place like that has a lot of suffering or has some kind of notorious past or anything like that. I mean, we ask questions. We don't challenge anything. We don't we don't try to become argumentative. We don't try to basically get anything all worked up. We take a very passive approach because we just want to ask some questions and get some information. We don't want to kind of stir the pot, if you will. So we're very careful, and I think that's one thing I learned from you is basically don't be confrontational because you don't know what you're going to be confrontational with. Now, I've gone into some pretty nasty places. I mean, I did the Hinsdale house once, and I asked a question, and I think whatever I asked a question to, or actually it wasn't even a question, I made a stern comment about something, and for like 2 or 3 days after that, I was just like zapped, man. I had like no energy. I think I called you on this and talked to you about this at one time. So do you think that I kind of provoked something and it got mad and kind of zapped me and just make me learn my lesson or let it know it was mad?
Well, you have to really take a look at everything, that you're dealing with. You're dealing with a haunted location. We're dealing with a piece of property that, quote unquote, allegedly, had a major exorcism performed on the property many, many years ago. Dan, the owner of it now, I know him, intermingle with him. I know a lot of people that go there. They have a lot of different types of interaction. So therefore, was it a possibility that the influence of the property in the home and a possibility of some of the researchers, there's a lot you have to take into consideration on why an experience could be taking place, why something's happening. And I refer to a lot of those scenarios like what you experienced, and what happened was that you were in that time framing where you were learning something. You were learning the process of that these things can influence us, they can affect us. And a key thing that is very important for anybody is the fact that we have to keep our guard up all the time. It's just something that's very crucial and very important. Rich, you know me well enough. I'm the farthest thing from a Bible thumper.
You are.
I just don't cut it. As far as doing something like that. But am I a spiritual individual? Do I believe in the power of prayer and protection? Yes. Do I believe in the guardian angels? Absolutely. These are the elements that I use to be able to help protect myself. And it's my belief system in, my Christian beliefs. But I'm a very analytical person because I deal with so many variables, with so many different belief systems and practices out there. So again, you have to be wise, and you have to be smart enough to know when you should move forward with being involved with something and when you should back off. Again, a lot of times people say, are there ever cases that you back off of? Absolutely. There are situations and things that I just back away from, because it's better to take the higher road than the lower road and end up having twice as many problems in the long run.
Yeah. You know what? That leads to segue into the next question I want to ask you. The haunting in Connecticut case, that could have been a case that you could have backed away from, but you went with the Warrens, you went full in to help that family. And that, I watched the documentary that was on Discovery Channel on that. Actually, Carmen gave me a copy of that, like the director's cut of The Haunting in Connecticut. And I watched that. And that was probably one of the most terrifying documentaries I think I've ever watched. Where, they had that done, the story the way it was told. They actually had you and the Warrens in the project, and they talked about that case. And it was a pretty horrific case. I'm not even talking about the movie. The movie just went, typical Hollywood style, bodies in the walls and all kinds of stuff like that. But that case, could that be considered a case? Because I remember watching it, and I remember you actually left that place in the middle of the night. You just booked out of there and took off because you had an experience that was horrific, and that almost took you out of this field for a while.
Yeah. With the haunting in Connecticut and haunting in Connecticut. You like that one?
That's another one.
the haunting in Connecticut with the Snedeker family. That's going on 31 years ago, and that it really was. It was a big turning point because it was dealing with I did deal with, and the situations. There's things that never even get talked about or ever brought to the forefront. In regards to that case, I think that experiences that I had in there were something that really rattled me, because when you see something and you experience it to the degree of that, it alters you and it changes you. I didn't know till years later. Somebody was interviewing my wife, and she says, I still can remember that as clear as day. She said he would shake at night. She said he would just shake in his sleep when that whole thing transpired with that. And I was very fortunate because a spiritual person, Bishop McKenna, another one no longer with us today, was a very good guiding force in explaining things and getting things for me to comprehend and understand, because basically what he had said to me is that, its intent and purpose was to scare you out of that house so you wouldn't help the family. He said, are you going to let it win? And I had to really give that some thought, and I did, and actually went back. And, again, was I scared? Yeah. Yeah. To this day, I still think about that because the opportunity or whatever has never come up where I've walked in that front door and looked up the staircase. I don't know if I ever really want to do that. Not the fact that I think there's still something there. I'm not sure I want to relive that.
Of course.
I'm not sure
terrifying.
I want to go back to that. But again, it was altering because it was something I was able to walk away with, and there were very, very valuable lessons that I learned from that whole investigation and had a better comprehension of understanding a lot of those things. Actually, it's going to be quite amazing because either Monday or Tuesday, I should be catching up to have lunch with Carmen Reed. But anyhow, she'll be up north here working on something. Anyhow, a 1 in a 10 is like a 30.
That's intense. For our listening audience, just to catch up to speed a little bit, The Haunting in Connecticut. There's the movie A Haunting in Connecticut, or is it The Haunting in Connecticut?
I think it's A Haunting. The movie is.
I believe it's A Haunting.
Okay.
In Connecticut.
Okay, so the movie is A Haunting in Connecticut. So watch the movie. You'll get a little bit of a gist of what was going on there. But if you really want to see a little more terrifying view of it, get the documentary, or maybe it's up on YouTube, or check out Discovery Channel. Maybe they're streaming it. But that documentary was terrifying. And pretty much the case was the Snedeker family moved into a home in Connecticut that was used to be a funeral home.
Quite amazing because either Monday or Tuesday, I should be catching up to have lunch with Carmen Reed. But anyhow.
What was that?
Okay, that's kind of creepy,
Yeah.
We had videos pop up here. That's. All right.
Okay, okay, good. But yeah, so anyways, the case is probably one of the more horrific things that I've seen, and it definitely was one that was horrific for John. And you can see what happened to him in the documentary as they try to make him sort of relive that moment. And many times when we investigate, we come across things that do scare us, but coming across something that's possibly demonic, I mean, that's a whole different ballgame.
Well, it is because it's far and few in between. It does bother me tremendously today when I, hear a lot of different things that, Satan's coming up through the floorboards in every house. So again, I look and view at things differently from the perspective of what, TV and the movies are like in comparison to working on the actual investigation. So it is a different world.
Yeah, you're like a vault sometimes. You're pretty guarded. I know that you'll talk about certain cases, but you can tell that the ones that are more influential and the ones that are a lot more work and dangerous and things of that nature, you keep a tight lip. You don't share that information at all.
No, and it's not the fact of, that I don't like, to share information for other people to get a good comprehension and understanding of the demonology field. I don't like to give it that amount of recognition. And, again, it's something that took me years to understand, the way to look at it and the way to handle it. Because my uncle used to do the same thing with me. I used to drive him nuts asking him questions. And a lot of times he just, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to, blah, blah, blah. And he would let a lot of, different cases and things and different things that transpired, he would let go and really didn't talk about, a lot of certain things. And I find I do the same thing. And it's just a simple fact that a lot of times I just don't like to give it that amount of recognition. So, I still look at my work, as I call it, is that when I get involved with cases and I'm working with the family, and a lot of times, a lot of families, they just choose not to go public. You know, they have children involved. They got to worry about their careers. There's a lot at stake that these people have to go through. I've seen people go public and it destroys their lives. So I always respect people. Then on the flip end of it, if somebody wants to go public, you know, and they want to talk about their case and everything like that, and I was involved with it, I will back them. I will back them 100%. I don't have a problem with that. But I always believe it's up to a family or an individual to make that decision to bring it to the forefront. They want to do that, you got my support. They just want to let it go. They want it, you know, to stay in the archives. I have no problem with that either.
Okay, so today in 2020, are you still working on cases that have some kind of potential or possible demonic undertone to it? I mean, are you still getting requests for this stuff? Is there still stuff going on? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing?
Well, here's what I find interesting, because I hear a lot of people say, you know, that they feel things are increasing. Nothing's changed for me. For the past 20 years, it's always been a situation where I've been involved with things. I have a lot of clergy friends. I have a lot of spiritual friends. You know, so, you know, in any one day, you know, give or take, I can be involved with, you know, 2 or 3 cases. I can be involved with 10 to 20 cases. Now, when I say being involved, it doesn't always necessarily mean, you know, that I'm going to site, you know, going on site to do an investigation or something. But I can have, you know, a priest friend of mine call. He's having, you know, things that he's trying to figure out. I can help him out. I could talk to families on the telephone. There's a lot that I get involved with, but I always have, and probably always will till I stop doing this work and turn into a ghost myself. But again, depending on who you talk to, some people say I'll turn into a demon. You never know. But
God help us.
Oh, no.
but, you know, that is, you know, because my wife used to tease me all the time. She goes, what do you do all day? What do you do all day long? And, you know, and I go, well, you know, I'm on the phone. I could be on the computer. I could be doing this. And, you know, a lot of times now when she'll come out, she'll bring me a cup of coffee or something like that. She goes, I never realized how in-depth you get with so many different things. She'll come out to talk to me or something, and I'll be on the phone or be on my cell phone or be doing something, or next minute I have my coat on, I'm out the door taking off to go do something or to go help somebody out with something they're involved with. So it was always intriguing and interesting to watch it, and sometimes to listen. You know, sometimes at the end of the day, you know, she'll sit down and she'll go, well, what was that conversation all about? And I'm still very guarded. I keep my family very distant from a lot of this stuff. And I've always done that and always will do it, because it definitely helps to protect. You know, again, it's how I choose to get involved with it. I choose to do these different things. My wife or my kids did not choose to go down that path that I did. So therefore, to me, that is a very important element.
That was actually going to be my next question. Do any of your kids want to follow the old man's footsteps and get involved in this? And I think you answered that for me. So, I mean,
But they all three, you know, to be honest with you, all three of them look at it differently. You know, my oldest one, Erin, she never wanted to get involved with the TV shows or anything like that. We call her our flower child. Everything's beautiful. Everything's wonderful. And it works for her. So, you know, and Amy, you know, is my middle child. She loves doing the research. She still does it now. A lot of times when I'm doing something and, you know, she comes over, what are you doing? What are you looking at? What's that from? You know, she is very intrigued with history and a lot of the stuff. And Chris, on the other end of it, you know, he understands a lot of it. He does every once in a while still, he'll get involved with things here and there, but not really into that depth. So again, you know, I just look at it that, you know, everybody has their own paths. They follow it. I don't know what, you know, at the end of the day, or, you know, Chris, Amy, or even Aaron, any of them, or any of my grandkids, who knows? Maybe someday they'll follow in that footstep, or go a little bit deeper in it. I mean, I know Chris has said several times he has watched how it affected his family. He's watched how it has affected me, and he knows a lot of the work that I got involved with over the years. And he's said several times in different interviews, he goes, I don't want to get involved with that. I don't want to go through what my father went through. So again, I respect that, and
Sure,
I understand that when it says something like that.
Well, I mean, let's face it. I mean, you go beyond what a paranormal investigator does. I mean, like, hey, I think I saw a shadow figure or this or that, the kind of things that we get. And we go out and we talk with them, and, we try to, many times we just identify what it is, and they're like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm all right. Like, do you want us to help you come to a solution? No, I just wanted to know I wasn't crazy, and that you can see this too. But you go like to a level, man, that's just like par none. I mean, you're battling like, I mean, I've had my run-ins with, things that are negative, and I don't know what they were, but they're negative. But you go to the point where the negativity comes from, and the movie The Exorcist and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I remember one time you played for me the tapes from the real exorcism of Emily Rose, whoever that was.
Anna Louise Michelle.
Yeah, Anna Louise Michelle. My God, it was the most horrific thing I've ever heard come out of an audio recorder. I mean, I wanted to throw up. It was, and I've got, thick skin and broad shoulders. I mean, I can take it. But man, that was just something about it. Maybe it was the infrasound or something. I don't know. But the noises that human being was making were just not natural at all.
They're far and few in between to come up against the cases of a legitimately possessed individual. But when you do deal with it, it is frightening. You're dealing with a multiple of different spirit that has entered that individual, because there's never just one. There's a multiple that come in, and there's different levels. And usually what I call pure possession is the simple fact that that person has totally been taken over. And again, most people that are truly possessed do not remember the events. They do not remember what they went through. Any given, whether it was a deliverance, an exorcism, dealing with it when a person was truly taken over by something, when they come out of that, they don't remember most of it. They just don't. And again, that's a good thing, and that's a positive thing that they don't remember a lot of that. A good for instance with something, and I respect the individual for this. The Exorcist, that was based off of a little boy, really wasn't a girl.
Yep.
And to this day, that gentleman has never come forward to talk about what he actually went through, what he endured, because there were so many layers with that case that transpired and happened. But he's always chose to remain, and never go public and talk about what it was really like for him.
We used to get a lot of calls from people like, I think I'm possessed. I'm like, why do you think you're possessed? Well, I heard some knocks in my house, and then I started seeing shadow figures. Now I think I'm possessed. I'm like, there's like a whole formality to possession. I mean, there's stages of it. You don't just get possessed. And I think a lot of times, and maybe you can answer, well, I know you can answer this question. The people that end up in possession, do they have something to do with it themselves, or they sort of kind of brought it on themselves?
The majority of things that occur and happen is usually we have the 3 stages. Infestation is when something comes in and it can take its time and it tries to wear down an individual. And then they go into the state of what we call oppression. where they can't sleep, they can't eat, they can't function. And at that point in time is when it breaks down that individual and they finally give in and just go, do whatever you got to do. I'm just tired. I can't fight anymore. Because 9 out of 10 times, anybody that goes through what we call true possession, the real thing, they're usually so beat down, they're so tortured that they just give in and they can't fight anymore. They just can't fight. It's the same thing as an abused individual, where they just keep getting beat down, and they just can't take it anymore. It falls into the same category. So again, usually by that point, when you're dealing with an individual, there's a lot that happens. There's a lot that has to transpire. That's why, I always get a big kick out of it when we watch the movies or anything, and at the end of it, everything's resolved. Kumbaya, it's all over with. No, it usually doesn't go that way. Once an individual is freed or a piece of property is freed, it's still a continuous battle to keep up the spiritual strength behind an individual, to still be able to keep a piece of property cleared. So it's a continuous thing. It's just not where you walk away from it and it's totally done and over with. It's a continuous battle to fight all these different things, no matter how long ago it was or, how long ago certain things occur.
God. Man, that's quite the battle.
Can I ask him a next?
Yeah. Peter wants to ask you a question, John.
I'm sorry. So since you brought up the Robbie case, that's the young kid, I guess, is there something special with the specific faith of Catholicism when it comes to demonology and ridding evil spirits? And what I mean by that, like with the Robbie case, I believe he was Lutheran originally, and they called in Lutherans to try to expel whatever the problem was, and they almost died during the process. And I don't know if that was just the movie part or if there was the offhand comment actually made, get the Catholics, they know how to deal with that. And I know there's the Roman ritual. And about a few years ago, I believe they said that they had to return back to the pre-Vatican II, the red copy of the Roman ritual, because the new one's not working. Now, for people like us in this business, to hear something like that is kind of scary. What's in there that's not working anymore?
Well, okay. Yes, there were multiple of different people involved with that case you're referring to. You're talking about the Exorcist, correct?
Yes. Well, no, the original
right.
kid, Robbie. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I wanted to make sure we're talking about the same one. Yes. Okay. And there was multiples that got involved with that. Again, things that transpired and things happened with different spiritual people that got involved with it. Then, the Christian, the Roman Catholics, if you will, got involved with it. Now, the key factor with a lot of things that people don't understand it is the fact that the rites of exorcism go back thousands and thousands of years. It predates organized religions. The original rites of exorcism that we use today come from Judaism. And anytime I say that or anything, and people look at me and they're going like, a key element with understanding spirituality is learning and studying the different perspectives of it. And you learn how so many different things got taken from, different belief systems and incorporated into, Christianity. A lot of the holidays were pagan ones and, they switched them all around. There's a lot of ways to look at things, to comprehend it and understand things. And it's difficult because, for many years we were raised in belief what was presented to us. I was brought up Roman Catholic, went to Roman Catholic, school and everything. So again, when I look at that, and I have a lot of very good priest friends, bishops and so forth, and Pete, when I get into conversations with them, doesn't usually end very nicely. I think you guys know me well enough where I speak my mind, and I don't care who you are. So, again,
No,
And you,
no.
as you should.
we'll go back and forth over a lot of different things. Now, to answer the other part of it, yes, with Vatican II, they changed everything. Yes, it is true that a lot went back to the original way of doing it. And one of the key things that they found is that parts of the exorcism, as it's being recited and everything, and it's done in Latin, it seems to be very powerful and very strong. And again, a lot of things that we look at and we comprehend and we try to understand, we try to figure out why certain things work and why certain things don't. And we live in 2020 today, where people don't accept things so easily as somebody did 20, 30 years ago. We live in a totally different world. So again, we have to take a lot into consideration when dealing with a lot and comprehending and understanding a lot of things. It's very complex when you're trying to comprehend it and you're trying to understand it. I remember years ago, when I was in my 20s and 30s and just start questioning things. And, I was fortunate enough I had the availability. I thank every day Ed and Lorraine Warren for that. They exposed me to a lot of different people that most people never got exposed to. So, meeting witches, meeting rabbis, meeting people that practice so many different things and being able to have conversations with them was very important because I was able to gain a lot of knowledge, gain a lot of different things that your normal Joe just doesn't have that exposure to. So I call myself a paranormal brat. I do, because, how many kids can drive 20 minutes up the street and go hang out with their aunt and uncle and end up at an exorcism? Not many that I know of.
Man, that's just fascinating. I mean, could you imagine that, like having someone of that stature and like want to bring you under their wing and teach you stuff? And if you come to the country, just pick up the phone or ride your bicycle up. We'll go with that. Ride your bicycle up to their house and say, Uncle, Auntie, I want to go to an exorcism. All right, pack your bags. We're headed out right now. And, it's just, so the things, I think you're very fortunate because the training that you received, John, come from, the pair, that kind of put demonology on the map, and I'm sure you've taken it much farther than they have since, like you said, things are changing and evolving and you have to kind of keep up with it like any field,
Yeah.
And, it's just amazing. It is amazing to me. One thing I wanted to ask you, and I'm doing this for the listening audience here, is I watched the Annabelle movie a couple weeks ago. I didn't want to do it, but I broke down and I rented it on iTunes. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch this. I watched The Conjurings. They were good. They were scary, actually, pretty scary. So I got the Annabelle thing, and the first thing I noticed is that, of course, they made the Annabelle doll look like very sinister and creepy and evil and demonic, as much as any doll could ever look that way. But in real life, I saw pictures of the Annabelle doll, and the Annabelle doll looks like a Raggedy Ann doll. Just a simple, just a simple doll that I think my little sister might have had when she went back in the late 70s. So, how can something like that become so evil? It's just a toy.
Well, it is just a Raggedy Ann. That's the original doll was a Raggedy Ann doll. Again, a young lady was a nurse. Her mom had purchased it for a birthday gift for her. They gave it to her. She was living in an apartment. She was studying to be a nurse. They started treating it like a little child. Was sitting at the table, it'd be on the couch with them. They were putting jewelry on it. And again, there was one evening with Annabelle, the simple fact that they sat down and they started playing the Ouija board. And it spelled out, okay. See, there's so many things with the original story with Annabelle that are intriguing, and if they had incorporated it, it would have scared the hell out of all of us just to watch it.
Yeah.
But, and it spelled out Annabelle. Okay, and then the boyfriend started challenging it. He allegedly got some scratches on him. They had called in their minister. The minister was very good friends with Ed and Lorraine Warren. He called them. They came in. They did their investigation, everything. They removed the Annabelle doll and had taken it home. Now, to this day, I have mass confusion in my mind. I know this case took place between 71 and, say, 74. Every time I look at something, there's a different year on it. So it gets very confusing on what year it is. But the thing with Annabelle is there's definitely stuff that is associated with that doll. It was one of the most respected, quote-unquote, items that Ed had in the museum. And, again, with that, he always kept it in the case. There were a lot of different things done around that, and Ed would always say, don't open it, don't ever take it out of there. Don't do that, because you don't know what the end result is going to end up being, or something's going to end up happening. Now, thus, looking at the movies of it, they're creepy. The very last one, I caught bits and pieces of it. I haven't watched it all the way through. But, again, they just took the whole Annabelle case, the story, and it just went all over the place. I mean, Conjuring 1, creepy movie. I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm very, very good friends with the entire family. I've been to that home, several different times. Conjuring 2, the Hutchinson family. I met them one time when I was over in England. There was a lot of controversy over that one, too. People were saying Ed and Lorraine were never in there. I know they were in there. I know that Ed and two other researchers had spent an entire week over there. So, again, with a lot of this, and the movies and everything, I've been very much used to from over the years, because I would always watch it right from the get-go, dealing with Ed and Lorraine. They'd have a movie or something would come out, it'd be very controversial, and it's still the same way today. Here I am, 47 years I'll be in the field this year. 47. Yeah. I don't know. Am I going to have a big jubilee when I hit 50?
There's going to be worldwide celebrations when you hit 50 in this field. It's going to be National Zaffis Day.
But, again, it is what it is with the movies and a lot of the different things. I always, explain it to people. You have to remember, things are made for our entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
We go to a movie theater and we're going to pay these ridiculous price. I go to the matinee and I get the senior citizen now because I won't pay full price. I refuse. But anyhow, you sit there and you watch the movie, and I jump out of my seat. I get scared and everything. And if we watch something based on what it was really like and everything, you know how boring that movie would be?
Well,
and what are we going to do?
Yeah, but as a paranormal investigator, we probably would like that. We would like the boringness, but because we want all the facts, we want like long, drawn-out stories so we can research it to death. So sometimes we do like it that way.
I know, because I always say this. Yeah, and what's going to happen? They do something factual and keep it right to the way an investigation was done. We're going to go home. We're going to blog all over the place. It's boring. Don't spend your money on it. So. Again, you have to look at the element of what movies are about. When I go to see one of these movies, what do I want? I want to get the hell scared out of me. I want to jump out of my seat. I want my popcorn to fly. I look forward to that. So again, that's the way I view it, and that's the way that I look at it. Believe it or not, one of them in the group of the series, and I had no interest in seeing it. I didn't want to watch it. But The Nun, I was taking a flight, and it was in there, and I went, you know what? I'm going to watch it. That scared the freaking crap out of me. So, I sat there, and we landed, and I couldn't finish watching it, and I got so upset over it. I came back home from wherever I was, and I was on a mission. I was going to stores just trying to find the DVD because I wanted to see it. So I finally got to see the entirety of it. And again, The Nun is based off of a couple of different things: the Borley Nun and another very old case about a possessed nun over in one of the other countries. But again, I was very taken back by watching it, and it was one of them. I said I had no interest in watching it, but boy, it scared the crap out of me.
So when you go to assist in an exorcism, do you show up with a big old bowl of popcorn? John, what are you doing? Oh, Father, I want to get the hell scared out of me. Oh, Jesus Christ, I didn't see that coming. Popcorn's all over the place. It's in the holy water and everything.
I think one of the key things with this, when I go to help out with an exorcism, because I do not do exorcisms. I do not do them over individuals. I mean, to do a binding or a clearing or a self-immunization on a piece of property, or bindings and prayers over items, yes, that I will do. But I think one of the key elements is that when doing that, one of the things is that I'm more interested in being there to assist, to be able to help people, and hopefully bring some type of calmness back into an individual's life or a person's life. Because, again, during the course of being involved with a lot of these things, most of I just refer to priests, rabbis, ministers, and everybody as spiritual people. They're very used to me. I have a lot of profanity that comes out of me when I'm assisting in doing things. So it's not an unusual thing. It's not an unusual thing to see a priest take holy water and throw it on me, because a lot of times I just get going.
So that's the secret. I need to bring some holy water with me when we go hang out.
I think you're killing Pete over there.
It hurts.
Down, John, down. Splash, splash.
So,
It burns, Richie, it burns. Well, I mean, it's a very noble thing, though, what you do. I mean, you've sacrificed, 47 years. Yeah. I was paying attention. 47 years of your life to helping people, with problems that, the plumber, the electrician, the lawyer, can't help them with. Something that they can't, it's a very specific thing that they need assistance with, and it's a very real thing. And you were there, volunteering your time, your energy, your resources, and took on a mission to go deep into something that's dangerous. Do you get any recognition for it? I mean, is there a big thank you, high five at the end of it? High five, John. We got rid of the demon. So it's a very, you're doing this, and you're not a selfish person at all. I mean, you're just basically doing all this to help those people. And I know you stay in touch with them, because we've had this conversation before. When your work is done, you stay in touch with these people all the time to make sure that they're still good, that nothing else is going on. Yes. So, it's a very noble thing. And, you do that, and it's a very deep thing that you have to spend, 47 years learning. And I'm sure knowing you, I'm sure you're still in there learning. You're still in the research, and you're still looking at stuff, trying to basically polish your resources, because, things have to change. I'm sure the demonic element is trying to figure out how to get by all this. So the religious element is trying to figure out how to not let them get by all this. So it's a constant struggle. It's a constant battle, and, I applaud you for it. I mean, it's amazing that you have the sense of humor, and you're a big ball buster. Outside of it, you really are. You have this sense of humor.
Absolutely.
You're super friendly. Let's go get a coffee. Let's have a beer. And you have that happiness. And it's just, for someone who does something that's so so dark, and you have such a positive attitude about it, and it just kind of blows my mind. So, I applaud you on that. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And again, a lot of that comes back down, Rich, to just watching, how Ed and Lorraine would handle things.
Mm-hmm.
and the way they would do it and intermingle, and always take that step higher, and always keeping that positive no matter how dark the day became. And it took me a lot of years to comprehend and learn a lot of that stuff. And over the past couple of years, I think a very popular question that gets asked of me by a lot of people, and and the way I look at it is that they go, "Well, Johnny, what do you want to be remembered for?" Just that I helped people. That's all I care about. Did I make a difference? Was I able to do something that was able to help other people out, in circumstances? Yeah, I guess that's the way I look at it in that path of choosing to get involved with this and be involved, to the degree that I do. I mean, it is weird and it is funny because, having conversations, I could be talking to somebody over in Istanbul in 10 minutes and talking to somebody over in California, talking to somebody here, and just if I'm able to give them some insight on something that they're doing and it's going to be able to help them from all the crazy knowledge that's up in the old man's head, then, to me, something got achieved by that.
Yeah, no, you've achieved a lot. Now, if you could just try to figure out how to get rid of all the drama in the paranormal, you would be a hero. A hero.
Oh, please don't even go there.
I had to throw it out there. I saw the segue and I went for it. Segue is a new word that Chris taught me here, so I'm using it quite. I promise I'll wear it out by the end of the show tonight.
Oh, Gettysburg is afire tonight.
Yeah, it's not going to go there. So, but hey, John, thank you so much for being on the show.
Don't go there.
He was paying attention.
Good Lord.
That's the funny thing, though. But before we go and everything, because I often take that step back and everything, and just last weekend, I was sitting and I was talking to somebody, and one of the guys turned and looked at me and they go, "Is there anything that goes on in the paranormal field that you don't know about?" And I go, "I know everything."
He does.
I just, I just don't choose to, feed into it. I don't choose to do some of the things that pulls other people down. I don't judge anybody by somebody told me, somebody said. I choose the people I'm around. I choose the people that I associate with because I've gotten to know them, and I've gotten to to know people, because you can't always go by what somebody says or somebody's doing. But a lot of people say that we just have a lot going on in the paranormal field. It's not just the paranormal field, it's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch some of the other shows that are out there, and and then you go read blogs and everything on them. They shred these people. They just, it's just totally amazing. And they, people always say, "Well, you must love watching all the paranormal TV shows." I have no interest in watching them. I live it. I don't want to watch it. So, I like that. One of my favorite things to watch is The Curse of Oak Island. I mean, that's one of my most favorite things to watch.
Everyone loves that show.
Sit there and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait. You can't take it no more. But again, the other thing that I really like watching, and and I'm very vocal about it, and I'm very good friends with them, is Josh Gates. I love watching his adventures. Things like that I like watching. History type things. I love watching stuff like that. So, for me to sit and watch a paranormal TV show is extremely rare, unless, there's a particular reason. It's a friend of mine or somebody's talking about a particular case or something like that. Then a lot of times I'll tune into it. But normally, no, I'm watching everything else but that.
So you're not at home watching Haunted Collector every single night?
Yeah, I can't stand looking at myself on TV. I laugh about that because a lot of people talk about that, and listen to them, they'll go, "Then I don't like looking at myself on TV," and I don't. I just don't like, looking at that. And the funniest thing was I didn't find out till after Haunted Collector was done. My son Chris was the same way. He never watched any of the episodes, and I go, "What do you mean you never watched?"
It popped out again.
He was just in it for the chicks.
There he is.
All right, sir, we're going to let you go for the night. Thank you so much for your time and enlightening us and educating us. Really appreciate it. Thank
Definitely.
you,
Yes,
John.
thank you very much.
You got it. Hey, I want to know, Pete, what do you got? What do you got stashed up there that's haunted for me, buddy?
Well, I do have a nice collection of Nazi medals if you want them.
Wow. All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, you have a great night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.
That was the set that I had on Paisano Paranormal a few weeks ago.
Man, what an interview. He's the best. He really is.
He's the most entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Everything's entertainment,
Yep.
one way or the other.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, you can see how deep the rabbit hole is for John. And one thing I pulled out of the whole interview was that he's guarded because he doesn't like to give things recognition. He feels that if he gives it recognition, he's acknowledging it. And if you start to acknowledge something, then it's going to be like, hey, I'm doing something right. You just ignore it. It's just like it's like a bratty child, right? If you're always like, basically, what do you want? Stop pouting, this and that. And they're going to keep doing it because
This
it's
time it
awesome.
actually went out of restream. And we're back.
We're back.
We are back.
Nice.
So this is the second time tonight that we've actually lost connection. We lost everything on Facebook
He brought
through
Paranormal.
John's interview.
I saw that.
We lost about probably 5-10 minutes.
Did you gentlemen hear some of the weird things in the microphone while he was talking?
Yeah.
I did. Some of it
Heard
I could tell
chimes?
it was, well, I think he had
Like
a grandfather clock
like a
or something in the
cuckoo clock or
background.
something that, yeah.
He had Big Ben behind him there.
There's another one. I don't know what it was. It kind of sounded like a plane flying low overhead.
Yeah.
Oh, no, around 52 minutes. I got to go back and listen. There was something weird came over.
Well, he
Yeah.
is. It looked like he was in his office.
Yeah.
And his office is in his museum of haunted objects.
Yep.
So you can tell me that everything's locked in under the case with spells and keeping in place, but something's got to be floating around there every once in a while. I mean, come on. How can you harness that much negativity in one room without it basically
So
doing a little bit of here and there dancing?
basically, thank you, John, for ruining our stream twice tonight with all your friends.
We appreciate it. So we're getting close to running out of time here. We went over as we always do. We just got so much to talk about. I mean, that's kind of how it is.
Yep.
So
We got a lot of comments on here tonight. A lot of people loved John, found it very interesting.
one woman wanted to know if he was single.
Can I,
See, we didn't go in there. We should have asked him if he was a ladies' man. It's that sweater with the mist around him. And so
are
we're gonna take a picture of Pete with a red sweater, put the mist around him, throw him up on Tinder or something, and see how that works.
It's missed.
Do you remember the Capitol Theater event? We were all outside with John, and this lady walked up to him and handed him an envelope and walked away.
No.
And he
wasn't
opened
there.
up you weren't there, right?
No.
Oh, you weren't. Okay. She walked up to him, handed him an envelope, and it was all naked pictures of her.
Wow.
So he reached over and he handed it to Dustin Parry, and he's like, "Here, you take care of that." And walked away.
Wow. So the paranormal's got some clout. These people are, they're chick magnets. What can I tell you?
John's the Mac Daddy.
For some of
It's the
listeners-
beard. You've seen the studies. Women like men with beards.
For some of the listeners that just jumped in, I'm seeing some comments on here. We just had John Zaffis from Sci-Fi's The Haunted Collector. If you haven't seen the show, go ahead and look into it. See, one of our people have never seen the show, so go ahead, look him up.
It's a very good show.
Yeah, great show. He's got a few other things that we're
Especially
showing right
season
now.
2, episode 2 is a really good one.
Like There's like
That's
39.
where
good.
Pete is.
There's like 39 seconds of it. So it's
There's
amazing.
this really weird guy in there named Peter.
Peter. All the weird guys got the name Peter. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah.
But you won't find Peter on Tinder. His wife won't let me throw it up on there. So, sorry, ladies. Sorry. And yeah, coffee. If you are a coffee drinker, and I know you are, make sure you inquire about the Agent Paranormal Coffee. You can reach out on Facebook to get it. Or, you know what? Buy your ticket for the April 18th event, and I will bring the coffee there, and you can buy a bag. Make sure you come. We're going to have a great time, and we're also going to set up another one later in the fall, hopefully. But we got a full plan of events for you set for April. So come out and join us at the Rucker Mansions, and we're going to investigate Mansion number 1 and Mansion number 3. And, the place never disappoints us. So any last parting words, crew?
Yes. Kevin, can you do a close-up of the Zaffis collection?
Well, I can't do a close-up. We've already shown it a couple times here.
I know, but I want to point something out here that our
Oh.
viewers might want to see. So is it on the screen?
Yep, it's up right now.
So you'll notice the middle book, Haunted by the Things You Love. Do you see something local on the cover?
No, it's kind of fuzzy.
Well, at the bottom, you'll see the beer steins of Schultz and Dooley. Schultz and Dooley from our own Utica Club, Saranac Brewery.
Yeah.
Utica Club, the greatest beer known to man. Also very friendly of the
Sponsors.
Disruption Network. Schultz and Dooley. We made it big time with the Haunted Collector. So I wonder if he
Sweet.
actually has a pair of haunted Schultz and Dooleys. It's probably somebody from our area that's attached to it.
Could be. Maybe it's one of your aunt and uncles or cousins or...
The two Steins probably swear at each other in Italian.
All right, folks. We really need to wrap this show up tonight.
Yeah.
We got end of March. We got Phenom 2020. I know Pete and I are going to be down there.
How did we not mention that earlier in the show?
I have no idea. We're going to see John down there. There's quite a few other paracelebs that are
The
going to be down there.
Gettysburg drama.
Yes. So if you're going to trek down to the Gettysburg area, no, it's Lancaster. Actually.
Lancaster.
That's in Lancaster.
If you're going to go down to Lancaster, go see Phenom 2020 and stop by the Agent Paranormal booth. You'll also see John Zaffis is there. I think Jason Hawes is going to be there. A lot of paracelebs. You can check it out on Facebook to get the exact lineup of people. But Kevin and Pete will be there.
We're going for John and Stacy Jones.
There you go. So, and there may be a few other members who decide to jump in at the last minute.
I'm obviously going to have my wife with me, so Maeve will
Yeah.
be there.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So Diane's going to be there too. Diane's in her crew. She's sitting here watching.
Now I got to bring my wife. Thank you.
Yeah. God, this is just turning into a big cluster here, you know. It just started out with Pete and Kevin. Now it's like we got 17 cousins removed or going and everything else. So it should be a great event. So I might even show up. I don't know. I'm still looking at my March travel schedule. I just got to get through February yet.
Maybe we can get the big family truckster. We'll all go together.
Yeah. Load up the Durango and we shall go. So that's another White Zombie reference. He says Durango in a lot of his songs. Anyways.
Yep.
All right, folks. So let's say goodnight to our audience. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. And hope you found the show insightful, fun, engaging. If you have any questions or need assistance, reach out to us. Remember, on Facebook, smash that like button. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and anything that has Disruption Network on it, the D, subscribe. Because they got some great content on there, and they are a gift to this area. And they are growing like leaps and bounds. So make sure you stay tuned with them. And we will say good night to you. Have a safe night, and we will scare you later. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
I
Have
have
a
to
good
go
one.
exercise a demon.